Saw Lord of the Rings last night. Had to break out the old pipe. Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to another new video. I wanted to take a quick look at a little issue I've been dealing with recently. I've been working on a book over the past, most of 2025. Took a little break there for a couple of months towards the end, but it's something I've been working on for a little while. The interesting thing is, I don't really write the way that most people write. Most people, when they think of a writer, you think of opening up a Word document or some kind of Office document. I've got LibreOffice here. And just, typing away. Once upon a time. I can't even type today. Now, of course, being a fan of Linux, being a fan of tech in general, that doesn't really fly for me. Typically, the way that I actually like to write is using Vim. Vim, in my opinion, is the best text editor out there. It's very minimal, very lightweight, can handle massive, massive files, which at some point, is going to be necessary if you're writing a freaking novel. I mean, I'm not even that far into mine, and I'm already at about the 70,000 word mark. That's the size when, worse applications might start to chug a bit. Vim, not a shot. As far as the actual format goes, I use the Markdown format. It's very accessible. I can edit, view, and manipulate all of my work obviously on any computer, on any phone, even out here chilling on my boat that I'm working on restoring. It's a fun time. I have two problems with Markdown though. The first is that when I actually do any editing, I much prefer I went to grab a pen, I grabbed the pipe, a pen and paper, right? I much prefer to print out the work that I've done and just kind of edit that way. That wouldn't be a problem, except Markdown is not a very printer-friendly format at all, which leads into my second issue with Markdown, and that is that assuming at some point in the future, hey, maybe I actually do want to try to get something that I'm writing published, no publisher in the world is going to accept a Markdown file as an acceptable, manuscript format. At some point, we actually need to go ahead and set up to export these Markdown files, my Markdown files, into an appropriate document format that I can print, that I can export as a PDF, as a Word doc potentially if I need to. But for my purposes right now, just a .odt OpenOffice format. Now, the reality is Markdown makes this really easy to do. Now, probably the easiest tool to manipulate Markdown files is a program called Pandoc. It's been around almost as long as Markdown has, as far as I know, and it makes it really easy to convert Markdown to HTML, to a PDF, you can do EPUB, you can do, you can do just about anything with Pandoc, right? If you do need to install it, it's usually just Pandoc in any package manager. I'm actually going to go ahead and install it with sudo dnf install Pandoc. That's right, I'm giving old Fedora Linux a little try. Got, I don't know if it's a board is quite the word of Arch Linux. Just wanted to try some other stuff. So I'm trying out Fedora. It's nice. Check it out if you've never checked it out. It's pretty solid. Anyways, if I go and go into my documents folder here, you can see I have a Markdown file here ready to go. Literally what this is just a Markdown version of Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, probably the most popular philosophy book ever. If you haven't read it, you probably should. Anyways, if we want to go ahead and take this Markdown file and convert it into OpenOffice, it's really easy. I'll run Pandoc. We're going to give it the input file, and we're going to use -O for output and give it a name. Make sure the format's set to ODT. And if we go ahead and open up LibreOffice, we can open up that ODT file. And just like that, we have a formatted document. This isn't quite what I want. As I said, the biggest reason that I want to print out this manuscript is so that I can write in it. So, at the very least, I'm going to want to double space everything so that I can write in between the margins and stuff. I'm probably going to want to do all sorts of other manipulations to this. So really what I want isn't just to generically convert a Markdown file to a OpenOffice file. What I really want to do is I want to create a template that I can run in tandem with Pandoc to go ahead and export everything. Now, as far as how I actually went about formatting everything, I just stuck with the kind of standard manuscript format, which is a monospace serif font, 12-point, double-spaced, 24 to 25 lines of text per page, and you can read about it if you want. There's all sorts of guides online about how to format a manuscript, right? If you are looking to do this on your own, basically once you have this first ODT file, all you'd really have to do is come through and edit each of these paragraph styles that's been created. It's a bit of an annoying process. It takes a little bit of time, but if you come through, click on each one, edit the style, go ahead and set the font at what you want it to be, the size you want it to be, all that, go through, Eventually, you'll get the template set up the way that you want it to. Now, I've actually gone ahead and created this template, and actually if you want to, I will go ahead and mention, I did throw it up on my website, so you can download this template if you want to. It's just a generic ODT manuscript template. Hit download, it'll download, and you'll have a file called reference.odt. And in order to pipe this template through, we're going to go ahead and just run pandoc again, give it the input file, tell it the name that we want to use for the output file, and then all we have to do is give this flag that's called reference doc equals, and then I have to give it a location where I have it stored. So I'm going to go ahead and put all of that in reference.doc, .odt. And if we go ahead and hit enter, we should get a fresh LibreOffice file to take a look at. Just like that, we have a formatted manuscript. This one looks a little weird just because of the way that Meditations is written. You never have more than like 2 paragraphs next to each other, really. But it is formatted as a manuscript. This would totally fly. There is one other problem that I happened to run into when I was getting this set up, and that is in my use of Markdown's horizontal rule. Now, what the horizontal rule is it's just a kind of hard break line separator that's built into Markdown. You can type it literally just by doing 3 dashes, and it will generate a line. Just here, let me show you real quick. Let's just remove the Meditations ODT file and generate another one. Go ahead and open it back up, and the horizontal rule is going to be generated as an actual line. The problem with this, for me at least, is that I was actually using the horizontal rule in a improper way, I suppose, or at least not in the way that it was intended by the creators. I was using it as essentially a scene break. Anytime I got to the end of a scene, rather than like denoting it with like a hash or 3 stars or something, I was just doing the scene break. And I've been doing that for a full year now, so I really don't want to go and sift back through all my old files and do the changing, even though doing in Vim would honestly be pretty quick and easy. Actually, now I realize I should have just done that. But instead what I did was I did a lot of research, and I figured out that pandoc can support what are called Lua filters. So I'll go ahead and just open up the Lua filter. So as simply as possible, all this Lua filter is just a really, really basic function. All it's going to do is select the horizontal rule element inside of Markdown, and it's going to say every time that pandoc wants to export this horizontal rule, it's just going to convert it to a string, and that string, we can make it 3 stars, which is a pretty standard way to format a scene break, or we can make it a hash, however you want to do it. Now, the other thing that we do need to do is basically tell pandoc how to format this particular string that is generating. Originally, I went out of the way and in my reference.odt template went and made a custom scene thing, and it was too much work than it needed to be. Because the reality is, you can, if we take a look, heading 2, heading 3, and just in almost any situation are going to be damn near identical. All we really need to do is tag this to one of the headings. They're going to be center text. They're going to be all caps. So I'm just going to go ahead and tie it to heading 3. Now, in order to use this Lua filter, it's very similar to how we would use the reference doc. We can just run pandoc, give it the input file, give it an output name, and rather than using the reference file tag, we're going to use a Lua filter tag, and we just need to give it the location of our script. And of course, we go ahead and launch it, and yes indeed, we have a scene break automatically formatted to heading 3. Cool. All we need to do now is put the whole thing together, one long string of syntax, but it's not too complicated. We do pandoc, give it the input file, give it an output name. We need a reference doc. We're going to get that from the place where I keep my reference doc. And then we go ahead and give it the old Lua filter. Make sure we tell it where that is as well. Oh man, I can't type anything. And then if we go ahead and give this a shot one more time, we should have a basically perfectly formatted manuscript with everything working exactly the way that I want it to. Mission accomplished. I know this is probably a video that's going to be relevant and helpful for maybe a total of 2 other people out there. And because of the way that the algorithms work these days, those are probably going to be the only 2 people who never come across this video. But thank everyone for checking this out anyways, and I'll see you the next time I get around to actually making a video.